back to another episode of the A Miracle Marketing Podcast, where we bring you interviews from business owners, celebrity guests, and hot topics. I am your host, Brandon Adams. My co-host, super producer Big Perion, is not here today. He will be back to join us on another show. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, send us an email to amiraclepodcast@gmail.com. On today's show, I'm very excited to have this gentleman and speak to him. Him and his family are doing big things, and right around the Thanksgiving time, you guys got to check out this business. They provide canned goods and also natural canned goods. So, without further ado, let's welcome to the show Mr. Andrew Goode of the Goode family. How are you doing, Mr. Andrew Goode?
I'm doing very well. Honored and blessed to be here. And I wanted to say thank you for inviting me and doing some research. I'm very curious to hear about how you heard about our company. But
Oh, and it's Andrew Johnson, not Good, but
I was just going to say the second thing is that it is Andrew Johnson, but I've slowly have been becoming Mr. Good over the last 2 years
uh,
because people are seeing the name Good and they associate it with our last name, but we're actually the Johnson family,
the Johnson family, but
aka
I know the company is called Good, right?
the,
Good
the
Foods.
company is called Good Foods. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Good Food, and then our handles are Good Foods Family. So people are sometimes like, "Oh, you guys are last name Good."
yeah, that's what
Um,
that's
yeah.
yep. Sorry to get that confused. So tell us a little bit about how you guys got started in the business.
Well, I'll keep it as short as I possibly can. I'm going to crunch 20 years into about 20 minutes, but we started off as a food distribution company.
Mhm.
My father started this in 2003, so celebrating about almost 21 years now in business. And so initially started off, if some may know the story as it goes, is that my father was working in corporate for 35 years. So he had a food background just in the nutritional side, working at Abbott Laboratories, nutritional division, selling Ensure, formula, um, Pedialyte, and in the early 90s. And at a certain point, he said, "Hey, I want to start my own business." And so in 2003, he decided to quit. He left Abbott and he started a food distribution company. So the brand Good Foods, what you know about, is actually relatively new, maybe 7, 8 years old. But the company, our distribution company, is almost 2 decades old. And so we initially started selling to local government agencies in Chicago,
Mhm.
supplying everything from canned food, frozen food, fresh produce, eggs, dairy, almost anything you ever see in the grocery store. We were like the sole supplier. So we won a government contract bid. Uh, and then from there, we sort of slowly expanded into retail stores around the city of Chicago. So a couple of local chains picked us up, the Albertsons of the world and the Krogers of the world in Chicago. They're called Jewel Osco and Mariano's. And so we were basically in those two stores for a while. And most people still to this day know us as a WIC or a government item. They still
Mhm.
remember us from their mom redeeming us at the WIC centers back in the day. And so it's very fun and it's interesting to see people now see us on the retail side, like, oh, you guys are actually a real brand. You guys aren't just like a government item. There's a
Mhm.
story, there's actual family behind the business. And but yeah, we were kind of trucking along, mainly as a government item in that space, for maybe 6, 7 years. In about 2008, kind of when Obama got into the office, we sort of transitioned into retail. And as I mentioned, we were in government, and then we picked up a baby food line. So our first real brand was actually a baby food brand called Pick Select Fresh.
Mhm.
So that was our first brand before Good Foods, and we sold that also to the local government agencies in Chicago as well as some of the local retailers. And so really before, like, quote unquote, the pandemic, if you would have asked me what I do for a living, I would have said I work for a baby food company because we were kind of all hands in on Pick Select Fresh. Us being one of the first in our community to have a brand in that space. And it was really until up until the pandemic, 2019, if you remember, 2020, the top of the year when like the pandemic hit and our Good Foods, the cans just started flying off the shelf.
Mhm.
As you remember, toilet paper was flying, paper towels were flying, and so were the cans. And so we sold like a year's worth of supply very quickly in under a month. And from there, just due to like the new demand for cans, and you remember that time period. I mean, it was a real pandemic. No one knew where they were gonna get their food the next day, right? People were standing outside at 6 in the morning at Walmart just trying to get some cleaning material, cleaning
Mhm.
supplies.
Mhm.
So we saw a
Okay.
huge lift. Yeah, you remember that.
Mhm.
I know everyone has a story about that time.
Mhm.
And so it was a very interesting time because for us it was a lot of triumph. We were expanding during this time when there was so much suffering. It was a very interesting dichotomy. And from there we just kind of took off. So we were only in like we were selling to these WIC centers, about 20 centers around the city of Chicago, and then between the retail stores, it was about 60 stores. So we basically went from like 60 stores from before the pandemic to like 4,000
Mhm.
because of the new demand and the low supply. Luckily, we had strong partnerships with our farmers and our suppliers, so we were able to get product when some of the even big guys weren't able to. Some of the the Green Giants and the Bushes of the world. And so there was a lot going on socially as well, where people were looking to work with companies and owners that looked like us,
Mhm.
and we capitalized on it, man. And first, it was Kroger. They said, "Yeah, we'll launch you into national distribution." So it was about 2,000 stores with them. Then came Meijer, which is a Midwest chain. And then after that was Walmart.
So are you guys national now in like all over the US?
Yeah, it's we're I would say at this point we're national. If you ask us, we're in about I would say 90% of the states.
Okay.
Um, Mainly that Pacific Northwest area, but through Target we ship online to every state, so we kind of do cover every state, even Hawaii and Alaska. But in the grocery industry, because these guys are monsters, they still kind of consider us sort of regional, like. But we cover most of the regions as far as West Coast, the South, Midwest, and East Coast.
Okay. Because how I came across you guys, what caught my interest and why I reached out was because I saw that you guys had cranberry sauce, and it was a black-owned company, natural products. I'm very into natural products, non-GMO, things that don't have, any artificial or, made in a lab and any of those things. And it was right around Thanksgiving time, so I was like, man, I got to get these guys on, talk about their products. So you guys do everything from black beans, which I love, green beans, corn, and your newest product is cranberry sauce. Am I correct? Okay.
Yes,
So while
yes,
we're while we're moving into the Thanksgiving, tell everyone, about your products and where what they can expect with your products compared to the other products.
yeah. I think you kind of called it out. Especially the all natural aspect. Our beans and vegetables are very, very strict dietary guidelines because we started in the WIC government sector, so just no sugar added, being non-GMO. Uh, Even the soil that we use with our farmers, the quarterly crop rotations, which basically means you don't farm in the same place, right? So you're always having fresh soil
Mhm.
that you're using. And but so the kind of to rewind a little bit to fast forward to the cranberry sauce. Uh, so pandemic hits, we expand, and unfortunately, my father passed, and that's kind of when I took over.
Mhm.
Um, Up until then, I was the vice president. I started off as an intern, done everything. You could think I was to start off taking the trash, so it wasn't like I just came in as the VP CEO. I put in the work to kind of earn my right But yeah, I started as an intern. I started as an intern, then I went to like a sales manager, then the VP, and then unfortunately my father passed. And so when he passed, um, Target is when that same time period around 2022 they came around.
Hmm.
Mind you, I've been knocking on the door for 3 or 4 years. Right, it was just no, different things. It's not as easy as we make it look on social media.
Hmm.
You know,
Oh,
and I'll
trust
see a
me.
lot of comments, right?
Trust me,
Because
I know business. I've been in
yes,
business for years and everything, people look at certain things and think everything is easy, but it's not.
right, right. So
Hmm.
even I'm where are you located?
I'm in Vegas.
You're in Vegas. Okay, so for instance, yeah, we're not in Vegas, but I think we're in a few Targets maybe in the city, but people will say, well, you have certain items here, you have certain items there. I'm like, trust me, if I could, I'd have all 9 of my items in every store from Montana to Virginia, right?
Hmm.
But unfortunately, it doesn't work out that way. There's, you got to start with a small batch, different areas, serve different clients. And so Target came and basically was like, hey, we love this story. And they saw the work too as well.
Hmm.
We got into Kroger, we got into Meijer, we got into Walmart. So it's like, okay, we're now kind of in their backyard and with all their competitors. So it's like, okay, it made sense at that point. So they brought us in and kind of took us around the country. So we're in all the major super centers around the country right now. And from there, Food Line, which is a big East Coast chain,
Hmm. I remember
they
Food
picked
Line. I
us
used
up.
to live in the East Coast for a while.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yep. So very excited about that. And then it was literally last year. Now we fast forward to the cranberry sauce, where they had some issues with some suppliers, and if anyone watching this, if they can learn anything, it's like take an opportunity and run with it.
Hmm.
Always have your ears open and be ready. And because of just the nature of our business and how me and my dad used to network and move around, we had gathered a list of suppliers from almost every field. So
Hmm.
it was very easy for me to find a cranberry farm to supply them with. And so they basically said, hey, we'd love for you to develop a cranberry sauce with us. And that's literally how that came about.
Yeah, because I just remember like going into the store with my mom. I think it was growing up, you always just ate what was out there. And as you get older, like me, I'm very big on reading labels and what all is in it. And just because a lot of things may seem like it's healthy or all of that, by the time you read how much sugar is in it or high fructose corn syrup, I start reading and I'll be like, nope, and I don't want that. So, you start reading labels and want to find the more healthier products. So that was one of the things that really brought me on to, talk to you guys, especially being a black-owned business and a small business. I was like, yeah, let's get the word out about these guys.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And cranberry sauce, specifically the canned cranberry sauce, it's one of those times of the years where a lot of people make their own homemade, especially
Hmm.
like you said, the more educated we're getting, the internet, people are
Hmm.
understanding what's in the product.
Hmm.
And I will say it's the one time of the year where people are like, oh, hey, forget that. I need that canned cranberry sauce, right? I want to see the can indentations,
Hmm.
in the sauce.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So tell us a little bit about more of your products and the health benefits that people can expect with your products.
yeah, as I explained, so it's all natural, no sugar added. As I mentioned, just do the dietary guidelines of being a WIC approved item.
Hmm.
Everything is grown in the USA, so you don't have to worry about something coming from another country. And we've done that. We've imported, we've exported. We were actually the sole suppliers for the Danish butter. If you've ever seen those big blue tin cookies in Walgreens and CVS during the holidays,
Hmm.
we were the sole supplier for them as far as a distributor before the Good Foods brand. Um, but yeah, you can expect, very healthy items, firm. A lot of people will say, like, I kind of stared away from canned goods over the last couple of years, or they might have grown up on it and then sort of had a stigma or a notion about what they used to eat.
Hmm.
Um, but I think we bring a new, fresh take on it. We make sure our products are all farmed. Like I said, we rotate the soil. It's very sustainable farming practices that we've always used, and that's always been our mission, is to supply the highest quality products we can. And as far as canned goods, a lot of people, fresh is always great.
Mhm.
Um, but even sometimes it's fresh, right? You think about it sitting in the store, right? You don't know how long it's been sitting there. Plus, the second you pluck that from the ground, right, it's decaying.
And then they gotta
Um,
gotta sit on the truck and everything else get transported.
you're right. You don't know what's touching that truck, right?
Yeah.
There's no seal concealment, or
Mhm.
then it gets to the store. You don't know who's touching the store. And I do it. I do it. I get some grapes. I'm like, wait, are these firm? You touch it a little bit.
Mhm.
So I think people now are understanding that there's some brands like Good Foods that canned goods are not only are they healthy, but they're affordable too, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you get a lettuce. How many times have you wasted lettuce or kale or spinach, right? You like
Mhm.
forget about it in the fridge. Next thing you know, it's expired. So yeah, I think it's a good time to be in the canned food space.
Are you guys planning to expand to any other products in the near future? Like have any vision on some other things that we can look out for?
As much as I would love to tell you on here, I have a back in my ears, my dad's saying, Green Giants watching this commercial. Green
Mhm.
Giants watch this podcast. So I can't say too much.
I got you. I got you. I was just wondering if it
No,
was
no,
anything you could tease us with or let us know to be on the lookout for or anything like that.
no. I was actually being facetious, but
Mhm.
as far as in the future, I think it's more about expanding our current items.
Okay.
Because as I said, we're in the major stores, the Targets, the Krogers, and the Meijers, Walmarts, but there's thousands of stores we're not in.
Okay.
So those stores, especially for a smaller upcoming brand,
Hmm.
they are, because of the size and the nature of how they operate, they're able to take chances,
Hmm.
more calculated risk on a smaller brand like us. So they've been great up front, and they're a lot easier to work with than some of the smaller stores. So I think right now it's focusing on getting into more stores. We already have 10 items. You probably don't even know this. We actually have black eyed peas as well. Those are exclusively available in Chicago. So I'm looking to try to get the black eyed peas into more of the southern states,
Hmm.
where I think they do very well. And then the cranberry sauce is, right now exclusively at Target. That was an exclusive rollout.
Hmm.
But as you can imagine, I'd love to have that in every store, right, for the
Right.
holiday.
Right.
Yeah.
And then New Year's is right around the corner, and a lot of people with the Southern tradition love black eyed peas. So there you
Yes.
go. Yeah,
Yes.
have
Yes.
that out as well.
Yes.
So let me ask you, um, with it being a family business, you know, I know you guys just take pride and want to, keep the name and everything out there. Um, do you plan on, I don't know if you have kids or the other family members have kids. Do you guys plan on bringing the other generation in and having them work in the business if it's something that they want to do?
Oh yeah, third generation's already on the payroll, man.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, we got them working. It's funny enough, we just did a little commercial. It's kind of been going viral on TikTok with my boys. So I got two sons,
Okay.
3-year old and 4-year old.
Hmm.
So now it's really still family owned, but mainly it's me and my wife run it together. My sister's still involved, my mom's involved, and everyone else is like family, right? Um, so yeah, no, 100%. The goal is to pass this down just like my father passed it down to me.
Hmm.
Keep it in
Hmm.
the family, you know.
Yeah, that's where I was going because I know were saying, and unfortunately your father had passed, but you were willing enough to come in and, carry on the legacy of your father. And I was just wondering if you were going to have, your generation do the same and carry on that tradition in the business because it's nothing like keeping everything in the family.
Yes, there's not
Mhm.
nothing like it. And we have our days, as you can imagine.
Oh yeah.
Uh, one thing I will announce, I can't necessarily about products, but I don't know how much about the story, but the story has gone a lot of traction, even so sometimes even more than the product, right? Because people are now concerned more than ever of who owns the product. They want to know what your stance is on different issues, unfortunately, uh, which can backfire as we see in the media. But we've been approached by, I'll say, Hollywood.
Mhm.
Some major producers have reached out just through seeing the story, different clips, and we're in the development stage right now of a possible series, a cartoon animation series, possibly a 90-minute Lifetime flick. So that's definitely something uh, to look out for coming up here in 2025. A very good movie.
Now, one thing I've noticed on your website, you guys have children's books as well.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Children's book. So
talk to
so
us a
fun.
little bit
So
about that.
yeah, children's book, and that's kind of what I was gonna get into. So even the family story, we're also translating that into a coloring book. We got a children's book coming out telling the story. But the farming book is called Farming Made Good, and that's our first official illustrated children's book, and it's basically a very entry intro level into farming.
Hmm.
As you may or may not know, 65% of the farmers right now are like 55 and up. Basically, when that means that there's a whole generation about to step into farming that necessarily don't even want to,
Hmm.
and I think our goal right now is even like farmers, truckers, like these are like some of the most important people for our business. And I think the last 10, 15 years, because of social media, everyone wants to be an influencer now. There's been a stigma
Hmm.
of farming as if it's not a very lucrative career, uh, as opposed to being a banker or whatnot, a sales rep. And so our whole goal with this is to educate, but also inspire, our next generation of farmers. This could be fun. This could be something that you can make some money on.
Hmm.
And also you have like, to me, these farmers are the rock stars. Without food, right? There's no movies, TV, that's irrelevant if you don't eat.
Hmm.
So we've always been pushing like I'd rather see a movie about a farmer
Hmm.
because those are what going to keep us going, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and so that's the whole mission of that book is to inspire and educate our youth at an early age and get them excited about just cooking and creating their own food.
Okay. And tell our viewers where they could find the children's book and what ages they range from for the people that want to buy the children's book for their kids.
Yeah, children's book. I said age range between as young as one, right? Because you could read your child as early as 2 months, right? It was
Hmm.
the second he pops out the womb, but I'll say up until about 10, 11. But it's
Okay.
funny, like we're seeing even like the parents are having fun reading it. It's a fun read for everybody.
Okay.
Even if you're like 30 and you maybe have a green thumb, it's just a way to inspire. Obviously, it's not very detailed, but
Hmm.
it's like I said, it's an intro level to inspire someone to maybe get another book that really goes into detail, and maybe they start their little backyard farm, or who knows, maybe that's their new career path. But it's on
Okay.
Amazon.com,
Okay.
and then as well as our website on goodfoodsfamily.com.
Okay. Any merch coming?
Yes, yes, merch. I see that a lot. We've been popping up with these green jackets over the last year and been putting them in the videos, and we've been seeing some requests for that. So we're gonna have some jackets, some t-shirts, some hoodies, sweatshirts available on the site on the top of the year. I'll
Okay.
say that. Yeah. So look
All
out
right.
for some good foods merch on the top of the year.
Good, good, good. Well, Andrew, thank you for joining us on the show. And, I wish much success to you and your family. And, I appreciate you guys taking the time out to come on the show and spread the word about, good foods. I want to be on the lookout for it. Hopefully, I'll see it in the stores because I will definitely want to support you guys. And, I'm always looking for some good products and natural products to, have in the house as well.
Yeah. No pun intended. Thank you. Appreciate
So
it.
before you get out of here, tell everyone where they can find you on social media, where they can follow you.
Yes, I would say the best thing to do is go to our website, goodfoodsfamily.com. We have all the links to our socials.
Okay.
On the bottom of the page, you scroll down, you'll see all the social media icons. But personally, if you want to follow me and my journey, I'm on TikTok as Drew Good, funny enough.
Okay.
And on social Instagram, Drew Good too. So Drew Good.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks again, man, for taking the time to join us and much success. And when you guys want to ever come back, just reach out, let us know.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Take
Have a
care.
good day.